Okay, in this one, we're going to use Dorian in a way that you would normally not think of it. Now, you notice this theme I'm going on with the last, I don't know, 15 or so videos. We're trying to show that execution and just different ways of looking at specific scales can produce different sounds. It's all about execution. Dorian can sound bluesy, jazzy. It could sound medieval, or no, that's a generic term, but fantasy. It's used a lot in those kind of things. But in this case, we're going to try to, again, make it sound kind of playful and kind of like a little march, okay? So I looked at this. I wrote down a general idea of it's just a 1-4 Dorian harmony, okay? The Dorian 1, the Dorian 4, except when you get near the cadence. But it's using this kind of parallel chord technique. This is my actual sketch when I was just thinking about how could I do Dorian differently. And I said, well, why don't I just borrow from Tchaikovsky and do that entire line that I just showed you in the basic sketch with the flutes, like Dance of the Reed Pipes, okay? Something almost everybody's familiar with. You hear all the time, every Christmas. Tchaikovsky, by the way, I actually study more past masters than I do film composers because well, for one, it gives me way more options in terms of orchestrations, just approaches to composition than you would if you just study film composers. So basically I just borrowed this technique of parallel flutes and came up with this for... So I did mock that up with VSL, and that's what's actually playing it in the background. But here's the entire backing. Dorian 1, Dorian 4. Okay. It's actually very simple, just a simple pulse like that. So going through the upper line, just arpeggiation, like Tchaikovsky does in the, then parallel chords over the 4. More parallel chords over the 1. Same exact part as we did before on the 4 chord, except now arpeggiation. Okay. Parallel chords again. Now here's where the harmony changes, okay? This is just to produce a cadence. I start using that half diminished sound that you might find in D melodic minor, okay? Which, interestingly enough, if you've studied Tchaikovsky again before, he likes to use melodic minor in a backwards fashion like that, the ascending version. And Dorian and melodic minor are very closely related, and there's only one tone difference. So this kind of gives you an alternate route to a raised third 5 chord that is actually very old, but most people don't know about it. That's why I'm showing you this kind of half diminished sound, and doing in first inversion. Okay, so basically breaking out of Dorian using the ascending melodic minor chords to get to the raised third 5. So if you don't know that trick, now you do. That's actually something. Interestingly enough, also you'll find in Tchaikovsky's work him using the ascending chords descending. So that's part of what made his particular sound. So I borrowed quite a bit from him just to create this little Dorian thing. And actually, this is one of my favorite cadences in general. That half diminished down a major second to a major chord, because, well, in this case, it produces the half cadence, will allow you to go back into theme, but I actually use it as a full cadence, that diminished chord or half version down a major second to a major chord, because it's just got a really nice kind of sound to it. So if you don't know that before, now you do it. And once you hit that chord down a major second, you can treat that as your tonal center again as well. It doesn't have to be a 5 chord. However, this video again is not about that. It's more about the Dorian part. I just needed a way to end it. But what to get out of this is that Dorian does not have to sound like anything you would normally think of Dorian. I mean, literally experiment with any type of scale you use, and And lastly, don't just study film composers. I mean, you're going to limit yourself strongly doing that. Study people like Tchaikovsky. I mean, I would have never thought to do like a three flute parallel kind of lines like that with Dorian if I had not thought of that Dance of the Reed Pipes.